we first start talking about which side of the rubber a guy should stand on, the way that I want to initially address that is we're going to refer to that as the glove side or the arm side. So when we start having these discussions, it's not as the left-handed or right-handed. So for me, a right-handed pitcher, standing on the arm side of the rubber would be the third base side, and standing on the glove side of the rubber would be the first base side. So a couple of the reasons that guys like to stand on a particular side of the rubber or can become advantageous to them is if a guy has like a low slot, big sweeping breaking ball, and he's a right-handed pitcher facing right-handed hitters, the way where his slot is, the release point is, it allows the ball to travel back to the plate. Just like, working that outside part of the plate, you're creating some deception coming from behind the hitter and creating those unique angles. As well as a guy could stand on the third base side facing left-handed hitters, create some unique angles for the left-handed hitter, getting up under their hands or maybe working a pitch away from him on that side, create some deception a little bit. If a guy is struggling with command and maybe finding the strike zone, that's a guy that, potentially would want to move to the first base side of the rubber if he's right-handed. Reason being, it kind of keeps you in line a little bit better, keeps your slot in line with the plate, gives you a little bit more of the plate to work with, so to speak. A guy that can really sink or has a lot of arm side movement or a really good changeup can find it advantageous to stand on that side, because as the ball breaks back to that side of the plate, if you're on this side, it can be tough. You might lose some of that movement profile. So we want to allow ourselves a different lane to access more of the plate from that side. A guy like Paul Skenes is interesting. He obviously one of the top prospects in the game right now. He's been, mentioned in social media and the television in regards to why he moves to each particular side of the rubber. He'll go to the third base side facing a right-hander and the first base side facing a left-hander. So kind of some of the things that we mentioned, it also has to do with the arsenal that he chooses to use against the right-handed versus the left-handed hitter. The stuff that he will throw depends on, which side of the plate that it's working to, and to use that deception piece that we mentioned before. I will say that some guys are very comfortable moving, around on the rubber. Some guys are very uncomfortable if they've been doing it a certain way for a while. So that's something to consider if you're a player and thinking about experimenting, or a coach thinking about switching the side of the rubber that somebody is on. Obviously, we never want to take away from their ability to get outs.
Well, look at
One of the hottest topics in the game today are the increase in arm injuries. And I think the reason that, a couple reasons that it's become to the forefront. One, I think that with social media and the visibility of baseball at different levels other than just the major league level, there's a lot more coverage of the college game. I think that it's maybe something that also is being seen more than maybe it was in the past, but there also has been an increase in regards to arm injuries. And I think a lot of it starts from, initially kids playing travel ball. Kids are playing a lot of games when they're young, accumulating a lot of throws on a frame that maybe isn't ready to handle that yet. So where guys get kind of mixed up on this, I feel like, is just because a kid is not pitching a given day doesn't mean that his arm's not getting, used, because a lot of times we'll see, the best player on the team is the shortstop and the best pitcher. So maybe he pitches a game Friday or gets pulled just before the pitch limit. And then he'll go play shortstop for another game after that. Then he'll, start at shortstop the next day, and then he'll come in and pitch the remainder of whatever he's allowed to pitch per league. However, and then, people don't realize the importance of a recovery day, and not just necessarily complete days off, but the days that we're monitoring volume and intensity. That's a very big piece of the education that we bring to a lot of our young throwers, even our young pro guys. The importance of a day off. It's not necessarily just a day off from throwing, but just maybe a very, workload-based light throwing day, with a lot of mobility and correctives and things like that. Kids aren't getting that at that level. So then you move on, you start doing the showcase circuit. So then now all of a sudden, an example, high school season will start practice last week of February, games in March. The kid will go out and play, then he'll play the summer circuit, and then he has showcase events all the way basically through November. So, that kid's playing 10 months of baseball and never really getting properly recovered or rested, not only possibly week to week, but also in a calendar year. So that's a big piece of that. And then obviously velocity training has been introduced. It's something that we do here in doses, and there's certain requirements and criteria that guys must meet, as far as the biomech piece and also stability and strength. So we would never advise anybody to do that without those pieces first being assessed. The second off is, the money in the game. Velocity kind of gets you in the door, and I know command keeps you in the door, but there's such a push for everybody to throw hard that I think that when you start compiling guys that have thrown a lot as youth and then playing 10 months out of the year through high school, they get to college or maybe they go in the draft, you're talking about a guy with a considerable amount of mileage on his arm already before he gets to professional baseball. So one of the things, that I've studied